fear of love is rarely about love itself, because love in its purest form is expansive, it is liberating, and it is alive. So what people truly fear is the memory of their own pain, the unresolved echoes of betrayal, the abandonment, the disappointment, And with this, they end up approaching love not as an open journey, but as a battlefield. Like you're already ready for war, you're already armed, you're defensive. And this most of the time is because they have not yet forgiven themselves, or even they have not yet forgiven those who hurt them. And without forgiveness, the past becomes a filter. And every new possibility is judged by old wounds. When someone is afraid of being heartbroken, the fear is always less about the future and more about the past repeating itself. They have not reconciled with their own choices. They have not reconciled with the power that they once surrendered, or even the expectations that they once carried. Unforgiveness of self keeps them in shame. How could I have allowed myself to be treated that way? Now, instead of learning from it, they freeze in regret. Now, on the other hand, unforgiveness of the ex, it keeps you in blame. Look at what they did to me. Now, this binds them to the ex emotionally, even in their absence. So what they call protection is often just avoidance. They are not safeguarding love. They are safeguarding their pain. And the irony is that in trying to protect themselves from heartbreak, they live in a constant state of quiet heartbreak. Because they never give themselves permission to love freely again. Now, psychologically, this is a trauma response. Because heartbreak creates deep neural imprints. If they are not if it is not processed, then the brain associates intimacy with danger. The body remembers the adrenaline, the grief, the betrayal, and unconsciously signals that don't go there. Don't repeat that thing again. So the person avoids vulnerability, calls it wisdom, but it is really fear disguised as control. True safety doesn't come from building walls. It comes from self-trust. When you forgive yourself for giving your power away, you reclaim agency. You realize that you can set better boundaries. You can recognize red flags early. And you can choose differently. And when you forgive your ex, you free your nervous system from living in the past. Love becomes less of a gamble and more of a conscious choice. While spiritually, withholding forgiveness keeps the soul bound to toxic loops. Every unresolved relationship creates codes of energy, keeping you tethered to the old narrative. Hence now love becomes distorted. It becomes filtered through unhealed pain. But forgiveness is liberation, not for the other person, but for you. It dissolves the illusion that your worth and capacity to love are dictated by what others did to you. Love is not meant to be a prison of fear. It is meant to be a mirror of evolution. When you forgive, you no longer approach love as someone bracing for loss. You approach it as someone prepared to expand. You stop living as a reaction to betrayal and you start living as an embodiment of truth. In short, The fear of love is not about love, but about unhealed wounds. So defensive approaches like, I don't want to get hurt again, are just masks for avoidance. You know, what truly keeps people bound is unforgiveness of self and others. Forgiveness is not excusing harm, but it is reclaiming power. When you forgive, you break the chain of the past. Then you reclaim your freedom and you approach love not with fear, but with awareness and strength. My people, heal. Heal.